Hey, you're in the right place for the MobilityWOD. Got a good friend over today. He's a climber, one of our athletes for a long time. He's a sick guy. He's one of those guys who goes up the El Cap and does all that stuff. And one of the things we're talking about is he came over today because how long ago was that?
The injury?
Yeah.
Oh, 15 years ago?
15 years ago, bad fall on the ice and fractured his patella. Now here's the problem. Anytime you disrupt a joint orthopedically, especially the patella, it's never going to be normal. Remember, our goal is to try to normalize tissues after injury. And one of the things that we've always said is when you dislocate a shoulder, dislocate a patella, disrupt some kind of joint system, it'll never be the same. You can never kind of quite have the same stability. We expect Steven to have some arthritis in that joint. We expect to have mechanical problems. It also sets him up for sort of being more sensitive to being in bad position. So Steven is squatting. He's working on getting stronger and kind of in his daily life. And one of the things that happens is you start to feel noise.
Right.
And bring this knee over here, this camera. We've done some work today, but let's just see if you can hear that noise, that knee crack. Go ahead. Oh my God, I just vomited in my mouth a little bit. Did you see that? So here's what's happening is as we work through, we always want to take the movement first, clean up the movement first. So one of the things that certainly there's enough slack in his system that when he squats, slightly knee forward. Give me that first 6 inches of your squat again. Knee forward, boom. So what ends up happening is that because of our tissue load ordering or tissue sequencing, tissues that are loaded first in range, loaded maximally in range. So if he initiates with knee forward at all, that patella gets compressed earlier, and basically the compression on that thing goes through the roof. It'll literally arc up more, the chart of kind of the early compression, and it further ranges, as he squats down, the forces of driving that patella in the knee are insane. So what we have to do is make sure that that's not happening. The other problem is, he's playing along now because this is where I caught him. That foot is usually straighter. Get that foot straighter. This foot is usually turned out. And it's not an accident that he basically had to limp around and learn to open up that hip. And what's happening now is in this position, this ankle collapse, it puts that real big valgus force on the knee, and now we have an off-axial patella load where the knee is open, the patella is getting compressed in range in strange directions, and suddenly, what do you think, Princess? Is that good or bad? It's bad, isn't it? Yeah. So go stand over there, Bear Star, and show us your beautiful feet. Can you show us your feet? Nope. Nice feet. So we got feet straight. So what's happening is we need to get this foot into a better position for starters and always maintain and have him cultivate this position of the ankle. Now we have a fighting chance of understanding what's happening with the knee. Now, as we're having him squat, go over there and squat for me, Steven. Let's squat over there now. So first thing that we did was I said, hey, Steven, you cannot have knee come forward first. Our points of performance on squatting is that we want to delay knee forward motion until the end. That's how we'll try to get to depth. We can definitely shove knees out like all the best Olympic lifters, and of course, knees are going to come forward, but they shouldn't be loading forward into this plane. They should be going out to the side, delaying that forward motion of the knee as long as we can. So we've got Steven squatting now to the box. Thanks, Bear. Start coming over here, babe. Let's go look at these things. So he squats down to the box. Knee came forward first again. Well, let's do that again differently. And this time, let's make it for real. Caroline will have to do burpees if your knee comes forward, okay? So his knee can't come forward. I'm going to delay the motion of his knee. Go ahead. Now he's caught his hamstrings on engaged first, and I've delayed that forward motion, which means I'm not going to also load the tissues in sequence first, and I'm not putting a vector load. You're a climber, right? So if I have two anchors on the mountain, and I don't use a self-equalizing anchor, what happens if I put a vector load? Do I pop the anchors off?
Absolutely.
Right, that's death, right?
Right.
Well, what happens is I've got a vector, a load here, I've got an anchor here. Oh, thanks, Bear Star. And if that knee comes forward, I'm putting large vector force right in the middle of a loaded mechanical system, which it basically explodes and compresses that joint. And basically, if this was a piton, we don't use pitons anymore. If this was a friend or a cam, pow, I'd pop it out and I'd fall to my death. So when he's squatting knee forward, he's basically falling to his death every time. Hey, we'll talk about what's in there in just 1 second. So here's the deal. Same thing on the way up. So as Steven was squatting on the way up, his knee was coming forward first. Oh! Which means he didn't have good hamstring control. And then once again, he was loading with the knee forward first. So he's got to delay that onset of knee positioning. We're using the box squat as a tool here. And you see he's got a little shakiness going on because I've just been mashing him. And then go ahead and come forward, and he has to delay the onset of that knee. The other mistake is people stand up. Oh, there's my meniscus. This is why we're always like, hey, let's get the shin vertical first, and then stand back up. So let's see it. Can you go all the way down? All the way down? Show us your squat. You can grab on the back. Okay. All right. So the issue here is we clean up the mechanics, Prioritize movement first. So when we have someone with knee pain, especially someone who's susceptible to and has lost some tolerances for having knee forward positioning, then what we'll do for him, until he builds some slack back, we've worked on the upstream tissues, we work on the downstream tissues. Until that happens, we prioritize good mechanics, which means shin vertical as long as possible, or knee out in a more upright torso position. So go ahead and squat one more time. Boom, knee goes out immediately. Get better expression of torque through the hip. We've got good torque. His feet are somewhere between 5 and 12 degrees. We're good. Knee stays vertical. And guess what? It doesn't make any noise. In fact, come on over here and listen to it. So let's listen to the difference. Be quiet, Bear. Oh, it is grinding. That one was terrible. And one back up, no noise. So that's what we're thinking about. Prioritize movement control, motor control first. Delay forward motion in the knee in athletes who are having knee susceptibility and knee tolerances. And guess what? When you fracture your patella in 3 places, you've won the right to probably take some glucosamine per your doctor, and you've won the right to have a vertical knee and minimize silliness. MobilityWOD, Bear Star. We'll see you guys tomorrow.